One less Phil to answer. One less 212 to feel. One less FTE explained away. I should be happy, but all I do is cry. Oh, I should be happy. I only know that since he left, my life's so empty. Though I try to forget, it just can't be done. Each time my cell phone rings, I still run. I don't know how in the world to stop thinking of him, because I'll still miss him so. I end each day the way I start out, crying my heart out. Oh, one less Phil to discuss finance with. No more follow-up.
They said, Phil, it's Casual Friday and you're dressed so formally. Don't you want to dress a little bit more casually on a day like today? And Phil did this to me. He said, I prefer to have a professional appearance at work.
You know he's kind of a clean freak.
Tell
He's
me.
very neat.
Tell me.
We usually go out once a month on these site visits, and of course I end up driving. And on one particular occasion, I remember having my son's car, and it's a car that's been passed through the family. And so Phil got in and opened the door rather, and was about to get in and recognized that this car wasn't very clean. And I just simply said, "Get in and sit down and don't touch anything." And so that worked out okay on that particular time. But he's obsessive about that. I know as we go into these clinics that the ones that have placed these containers of the, you know,
the Avogard.
the Avogard. I mean, he's probably going through an entire bottle in the visit, during the visit. So anyway.
When I first started, I had a one-on-one with Phil, and I knew he was a sharp dresser, so I thought I'd pass on some information to him. And this was at the time when the DCMI Mall was still here, and we had an Olive Dollar downstairs. And I came to my meeting and I said to Phil, "Phil, there is a great sale on socks at Olive Dollar." He looked at me kind of like I was just crazy. Never said anything more about it.
It was fairly early on as a medical director, and we were sitting in a 2-on-2. I think I was with Blair Kent at the time as the operations director. And Phil was kind of giving us a little bit hard time about budgets or revenue, or, you know, one of those other silly things that he gets so worked up about. And I just turned to him and says, "You want a piece of me? Huh? You want a piece of me?" And Blair kind of inhaled and tried to swallow his laugh and stuff, and Phil gives me this kind of startled look and things like that, and then we just went on with the meeting like it wasn't important or things like that. But
And I always worked so hard to try to make sure that I was meeting your expectations in those budget review meetings. The telltale sign of meeting that, or I should say of not meeting it, is this. I always knew that if I presented some numbers in my budget that were just not in sync with what you wanted, this is what I would get.
by some in certain circles in the medical group that Phil is referred to as the man. You know, operations directors frequently say, well, you know, we have to go talk to the man about whether we're going to buy this equipment or not. Or as we think about this operational issue, we have to review that with the man.
We had 2 or 3 candidates come in. This one guy came in looking sharp in a nice suit. And after the interview, we were talking a little bit about the different candidates. And the one thing that Phil commented on was this guy had light tan socks on with a dark suit. And from that point forward, I made sure I had no light tan socks anywhere in my closet. I don't interview with them, don't wear them, dark socks. So I was taking him out to the clinics as well. And I was going to work right through lunch, you know, just keep on going. And he said, are we stopping for lunch? And so I found this kind of divey place, like I think it might have been a Village Inn or something. And Phil thought, well, you know, we could find a nicer restaurant than this, or a nicer place. So I've learned that we need to eat well when we're with Phil.
And we were invited actually to participate in a dinner that evening that was sponsored by the conference. And we got a bit of a late start. Phil wanted to walk. He was certain that he knew the way to get there. And after about 45 or 50 minutes of going around in circles, Phil flagged down a patrol car, San Diego City Police. And before they could even get a word out, he had opened the back door and all 3 of us were in the back of the patrol car. And we explained where we were going, and they were gracious enough to take us there. I think the highlight of that ride was when Phil asked if he could actually handle their weapon. And that was not going to work, but we made it to the dinner just in time to get dessert. So.
You know, you could see him, you know, trying to say, how am I going to say this? And I've often wondered, is he just trying to translate from his native Alabama into English, and is that what's hanging things up, or what the deal is? But volume hides a lot of sins, and so something I think that we all need to keep in mind as we try to build upon all the work that he's done.
That the eye of the master fattens the calf. I said, well, that's great, but that's about as good as saying my budget's no better than the spit of a camel.
That's as dangerous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
I haven't heard that one.
And of course, there's always the eye of the master fattens the calf.